And he would always tell Zeppelin, I'm leaving the band. I can't go back to America again. I can't do all that.
Welcome back to Hollywood Bulletin. Today we dive deep into the stormy world of rock legends, where egos clashed as fiercely as the music itself. And if you stay with us until the end, you will uncover shocking truths about Ritchie Blackmore. The man who helped invent heavy metal, but also the guitarist who despised some of the biggest names in rock history. Ritchie Blackmore, the enigmatic genius behind Deep Purple and Rainbow, was not only a pioneer whose riffs shaped the future of hard rock and heavy metal, he was also a notoriously difficult perfectionist whose temper and brutally honest opinions made him both feared and respected. For Blackmore, guitar was not just an instrument. It was serious art that demanded discipline, innovation, and raw talent.
And they had brilliant guitar players. Scotty Moore, Buddy Holly played, and the guitar, and you had Cliff.
And anyone he considered shallow, commercial, or technically empty instantly earned his scorn. Behind his love for medieval themes and dramatic performances stood a classically trained musician who had no patience for what he saw as technical show-offs, commercial sellouts, and frauds hiding behind image rather than substance. Today, we reveal the 7 guitarists who reportedly made Ritchie Blackmore's blood boil, and trust me, his words were as cutting as his riffs. At number 8, we begin with Steve Vai, the flawless virtuoso whose precision and complex compositions won fans worldwide but infuriated Blackmore. He saw Vai's work not as art, but as sterile science, claiming Steve had turned guitar into a computer program where everything was perfect, but nothing had soul.
Led Zeppelin, Purple, Black Sabbath. And we were lucky to be there in the beginning.
Blackmore, known for unpredictable emotion and danger in his playing, accused Vai of killing rock's spirit with what he called laboratory rock, music designed for perfection instead of passion. At number 7 comes Yngwie Malmsteen, perhaps the most ironic feud of them all. Since both shared a love for classical influences. But when Malmsteen burst onto the scene in the 1980s calling himself the greatest guitarist alive, Blackmore's fury erupted.
He's the same way. He was like, I said, what do you listen to? He said, pop music. I said, but you...
He accused Malmsteen of stealing his classical approach while butchering it, calling it classical music rape, all show and no substance, and mocking him as a Swedish peacock too arrogant to recognize real artistry. Number 6 brings us to Kirk Hammett of Metallica, whose thrash-driven speed and aggression defined a new era of metal. But to Blackmore, this was nothing but chaos. He accused Metallica of taking what Deep Purple had built and corrupting it into punk rock played louder, sacrificing melody and sophistication for raw noise and aggression. To him, thrash was a betrayal of everything heavy metal was meant to be. At number 5, we have Slash, the top hat-wearing icon of Guns N' Roses. To the world, Slash was mysterious and cool, but to Blackmore, he was a fashion show act, a blues rock player with an image carefully designed for MTV. He sneered at Slash's fame, saying true mystique comes from artistry, not sunglasses and costumes, and dismissed his success as proof that commercial image had triumphed over real innovation. Sliding into number 4 is Eddie Van Halen, the revolutionary guitarist who changed rock forever with his finger-tapping style. While millions adored Eddie, Blackmore saw only circus tricks. He dismissed Eddie's innovations as gymnastics, accusing him of confusing athletic ability with genuine expression. Blackmore felt Eddie had turned artistry into spectacle, inspiring a generation to chase flashy fingerwork instead of true musical depth. At number 3, we find Jeff Beck, a rivalry fueled by decades of competition and bitterness. Both emerged from Britain's 1960s scene, but Blackmore believed Beck's experimental style was pretentious noise that confused complexity with artistry. He accused Beck of caring more about intellectual games than moving people's emotions, and their rivalry simmered for years, each man quietly taking shots at the other through interviews and performances. At number 2, we reach Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin, perhaps the most legendary feud of them all. To fans, Page was a godlike innovator, but to Blackmore, he was a thief who stole credit for the innovations of others. He accused Page of dressing up simple blues riffs as mystical art, calling it blues rock theater, and claimed Zeppelin's success was built on borrowed power and clever imagery rather than true originality. For Blackmore, Page was the face of everything wrong with rock, celebrity built on illusion rather than substance. Finally, at number 1 stands Eric Clapton, the man fans once worshipped as a guitar god. To Blackmore, Clapton was nothing more than a fraud, a technically limited blues player who tricked the press into deifying him. He mocked Clapton's simplicity, saying he played the same 3 licks slower than everyone else while being crowned as a genius. Blackmore dismissed him as a blues curator, a man who copied American musicians without ever innovating, and in his eyes, Clapton was the ultimate betrayal of true guitar artistry. And there you have it. The 7 guitarists who made Ritchie Blackmore furious, rivalries that reveal not just his fiery personality, but also his unshakable belief that guitar music must have depth, discipline, and soul. Which of these legendary feuds shocked you the most? Was Blackmore brutally honest, or simply jealous of his peers? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Hollywood Bulletin, and hit the bell icon so you never miss more explosive stories from the world of rock and roll.